Okay, hi everybody, and thank you for joining Valorem Reply and Microsoft for today's session on Microsoft Security Copilot and how you can use it to scale your security operation and upskills your team. I'm Matteo Migliori. I lead the security practice and business unit of Valorem Reply. Our focus at Valorem is helping our customers outpace cyber threats and fortify their defenses and with enterprise-grade security solutions. So just a few notes to kick us off today. So first, a reminder that we are recording this session. And second, we have a dedicated time at the end of today's presentation for live Q&A. So as we present, if you have any questions, input them in the Q&A window. You should see it at the top, and we will answer those during the Q&A time. Next one. So for those of you that might be new to Valorem Reply, I'll give you 2 minutes background on our partnership on us and our partnership with Microsoft. So Valorem Reply is a member of the Reply Group, which is a global network of highly specialized technology practitioners with over 15,000 employees globally. We are a prioritized Microsoft Cloud solution partner across all 6 solution areas, security obviously being one of them, with deep expertise and advanced specialization in security areas of cloud security, identity, access management, information protection, governance, and threat protection. Our security practice is focused on key areas that we think are of need for modern enterprises with expertise and capabilities across the Microsoft security portfolio and all the product families like Defender, Sentinel, Intune, Purview, Entra, and more recently, Copilot for Security. We believe that by leveraging an enterprise-wide security platform, organization can take a more unified and proactive approach to protecting their digital environments. So with Microsoft's integrated security solutions, you get seamless threat detection, prevention, and response across identities, devices, applications, and data, all working seamlessly together. Foundational tools like Entra ID and Purview play a key role in security access and governing data effectively, which set the stage for advanced capabilities like Copilot for Security. With its intelligence, insights, and automation, Copilot simplifies security operations and helps organizations stay resilient against modern threats. It's really about creating a stronger, more connected defense system that grows with your needs. What are we going to be covering today? Quick overview. After I'm done with my introductions, we'll talk briefly about security landscape and how AI has created a shift in not only the maturity of attacks, but also in how organizations are defending themselves. Next, we'll actually get hands-on with Microsoft's leading AI solution for security teams, which is Microsoft Security Copilot, and show you some actual demos of the tool in use and tips for getting the most out of it. And lastly, we'll share some real-world use cases of how Security Copilot is helping security teams around the globe upskill their team and improve their security position. And at the end, we will do the Q&A. So again, if you have any questions, put them in the chat and we will answer them at the end. Quick intro of our presenters today. So all the great content will be presented by security experts from both Microsoft and Valorem Reply. So up first, we're excited to have one of our Microsoft partners, Travis Gwynn, joining us. Travis is a cloud solution architect who has been with Microsoft for over 18 years. Specializing in helping customers expand security perimeters and address evolving threats with a strong enterprise security platform. And next, then you will hear from Eric Neppel, one of the senior architects on my security team here at Valorem Reply. So with over 20 years of experience in networking, computing, virtualization, and cloud technologies, Eric works with customers daily to understand their security challenges and design the right solution for them. So we'll stop talking now and we'll turn it over to Travis, who will kick us off with a look into the security landscape today and the impact AI is having on organizational risks. Travis, over to you.
All right, so thank you, Matteo. So everyone, as Matteo mentioned, my name is Travis Gwynn. I'm a principal solution architect with Microsoft, working in our M365 security, compliance, and identity group. So I'm going to kick us off today with some conversation around the current state of security and how generative AI is rapidly changing that landscape. So before I get started with those slides, we'd love to hear from you about your current state with Security Copilot. So the team is going to launch here some quick poll questions. So if you'll go ahead and answer those. And sorry. So So what this is going to do is kind of help us, tailor, today's conversation to your specific stage in your AI journey here. So thank you for sharing on that. So moving on, we have lots of good stuff to share with you today. So let's talk about the current state of cyber threats. So the speed, scale, and sophistication of cyber attacks is increasing rapidly. Both for Microsoft, our partners, and of course customers. And when someone here falls phishing to or falls victim to something like a phishing email, the average time here for an attacker to access private data is just an hour and 12 minutes. The global scale here is just astounding, right? We're seeing a tenfold increase in password attacks, growing from 3 billion, a very large number in and of itself, to 30 billion in the same time frame, just year over year. The number of the organized attack groups is growing. We're now tracking over 300 significant threat actors, up from 200 last year, right? So 50% increase just over last year. Uh, and if that's not daunting enough here, we're also facing, unprecedented complexity, making our cyber jobs even harder. Today organizations on average have about 80 different security tools. Talk about some fragmentation and communication issues. Not only that, but they're expected to stitch all these tools together and make sure that the data and the insights flow seamlessly across and get them to work effectively. Add to that global security talent shortage. Organizations are facing over 4 million unfilled security jobs worldwide. And you can add to that all the challenge of a highly complex regulatory environment. As a Microsoft, we track on average about 250 regulatory updates every day around the world. And we know our adversaries are creative, right? They're quite brilliant. You have to give them credit where credit's due. And we know that we can use GenAI for good to be more efficient and more accurate. But AI is also expanding the attack surface, right? Gartner estimates that by 2025, this very year, GenAI will account for 10% of all data produced. And bad actors know they can use GenAI themselves to be more efficient and more accurate as well, right? Our attackers are using generative AI to attack us. We pretty much have to use GenAI to defend ourselves. So they're going to use this in just new creative and persistent ways. Here are a few of the ways we've seen threat actors getting ahead with AI just in the past year. Sophisticated threats, the alerts volume. Our security teams are facing an overwhelming number of complex threats, flood of alerts, and a growing set of tools here to manage. And add to that challenge of meeting those regulatory compliance standards. They lead to silos in both technologies and teams. Slowing down response times to incidents or issues, and leaving team members overwhelmed, just by the sheer volume of work and the shortage of expertise available to handle it. And the stakes here are high, right? The average cost of a data breach now stands at an astounding $4.45 million per incident, right? AI is driving a real shift here in cybersecurity, right? So by integrating AI into security workflows, security and IT teams can consolidate tools across the different threat vectors for an end-to-end visibility and coverage, while enhancing both our human expertise and overall productivity with AI to defend at machine speed and scale. So when tool consolidation combines with AI, we see gains in efficiency, speed, and scale that were previously out of reach. It's a powerful change here that's helping our teams tackle today's complex cybersecurity landscape. Now, of course, using AI in security brings its own unique challenges. A generic large language model, for instance, can't easily provide key benefits like real-time signal processing to detect and analyze threats, investigative reasoning to trace the source and impact of those incidents, precision with evidence to ensure that the AI is accurate, and persistent data collection to maintain a continuous comprehensive view. Without those capabilities, security workflows wouldn't be fully efficient, limiting the full potential of AI in security. So our approach is not just taking an LLM and rolling with it. So Microsoft is uniquely positioned to tackle the challenges of using AI in security. We have the most advanced models available thanks to our partnership with OpenAI, but we also have an advantage because of all that Microsoft brings to the table. Our solution builds on a hyperscale infrastructure, providing the scalability and infrastructure needed to process the massive volumes of data in real time. A security specific orchestrator. This streamlines, contextualizes, and coordinates responses across tools and teams, and plugins that allow seamless integration with other tools and systems to extend and enhance the capabilities of Security Copilot. Evergreen threat intelligence informed by over 65 trillion daily signals from across all of the Microsoft properties and technologies. Cyber skills training and prompt books, which is a collection of one or more prompts that can be used here to kind of recreate natural language based automation. These are coded into the product to empower teams with the knowledge and resources that they need. So by building on all these components, we have an AI security solution that can contextualize answers in natural language, delivering insights that are not only accurate, but also tailored to securely handle sensitive information. This level of contextual understanding and security is something a generic language model just can't provide. So as I mentioned in the last slide, we as Microsoft are uniquely positioned here to lead this shift in security. And not only because of our investments in generative AI, but also due to our robust portfolio of security solutions. Last April, we introduced Microsoft Security Copilot, and since then, the interest and excitement have been unprecedented. Security Copilot is a generative AI powered assistant designed for daily operations in security and IT. It empowers teams to protect at the speed and the scale of AI to help them catch what others miss, respond to those incidents faster, and strengthen their overall expertise. So Security Copilot includes integrated threat intelligence and is seamlessly integrated across Microsoft security tools like Microsoft Defender, Intune, Intra, and Purview. It provides a dynamic AI-driven guidance and analysis, enabling teams across the end-to-end security stack to manage and secure their environments more effectively. And the numbers speak for themselves. New research from Microsoft conducted between March to August of 2024 showed a 30% reduction in security incident mean time to resolution for security incidents 3 months post adoption of Security Copilot. Given that recent estimates suggest analysts spend on average 2.7 hours per day resolving incidents costing $3.3 billion in the US alone. These results highlight the significant potential time and cost savings that Security Copilot can provide in security operations. So Security Copilot can be leveraged in an immense standalone portal or embedded intuitively into existing familiar security products like Entra, like Intune. The choice depends on what's most important to the users, pulling data from multiple tools into one place, or in the standalone experience, or working with that product experience they already know, but enhanced in Copilot. So standalone, this helps teams gain a broader context to troubleshoot and remediate incidents faster within the single Security Copilot UX, with all these use cases enabling enriched cross-product guidance. So you could summarize a Sentinel incident, get device context from Intune, hunt across Defender for alerts, and get identity context from Entra and data context from Purview, all in one place, all in one session, with all the enrichment and context you'll need to paint the full picture. Or the embedded offering gives you an intuitive experience of getting Security Copilot guidance natively within the product that your team members already work from and are familiar with. If you're an Entra Power user, for example, you don't have to leave that portal. You have Security Copilot embedded natively into the portal that you've always used and are familiar with. Same for Defender, Intune, Purview, Defender for Cloud, each with the relevant skills for those specific use cases. Also, customers have found significant value in automation via Security Copilot, which helps teams accelerate response with the built-in and custom prompt books, as well as integrations with logic apps. So Security Copilot benefits roles across the entire security stack. In security operations, we've seen both junior and senior SOC analysts find value. Junior SOC analysts benefit from features like incident summarizations, which help to accelerate investigations. They can also take advantage of the remediation guidance that Copilot offers. Senior SOC analysts can automate advanced tasks like user-reported phishing analysis, incident enrichment, etc. And Copilot can reverse engineer malicious scripts and provide actionable insight for next steps, which is a time-consuming process that both senior and junior analysts can benefit from. In fact, in a productivity study conducted in January of last year, we found that Copilot professionals were 12% more accurate at script analysis, and Copilot novices were 34% more accurate at script analysis. So threat intelligence analysts can benefit from enriched analysis that pulls in data across the entire threat landscape with unified TI and accelerate threat hunting with AI-powered insights and guidance. At the top of the org, CISOs can leverage Copilot to get executive summaries and detailed reporting with the information they need tailored for the audience that will be consuming the information. Beyond the SOC, we've seen users in data security teams, IT teams, have also found value in Copilot. Data security admins can get, comprehensive AI-powered visibility, more accurate risk analysis across the data landscape, leverage the data security posture management, and give you some proactive data security gap protection, streamline the controls with features like data loss prevention. So what does this all mean for your business, right? This is why we're all here. So Security Copilot makes your security teams more efficient and more accurate by distilling the signal from the noise, right? The wheat from the chaff, if you will. Copilot takes into account all the insights from across your security portfolio and enriched by, the trillions of signals that Microsoft synthesizes each day with Microsoft Threat Intelligence included with Copilot, and gives you a holistic and comprehensive view for your threat landscape. In a randomized control trial for Security Copilot, novices saw that 35% increase in accuracy and 7% by professionals. So we also allow users to respond faster to incidents and issues. So across the IT teams, identifying, investigating, remediating, reporting, all of it can be very tedious, time-consuming, and manual and prone to error. With Copilot, you can automate many of these tedious tasks with contextualized data collection and summaries, remediation guidance, and stakeholder reporting. But don't just take our word for it. Recent studies have shown a 30% reduction in mean time to resolution within 3 months, and even seasoned security professionals, are seeing a 22% increase in speed across their SOC use cases. And finally, you can strengthen team expertise with Copilot. Consume Copilot flexibly, embedded in your daily tools or in the standalone experience. So, giving that back to teams that may be stressed or stretched too thin, and supplement those analysts with AI-driven assistance. It really takes your analysts and elevates them like a level up, right? We provide that natural language interface so that your security and IT teams can prompt Copilot in natural, easily understand and remembered language, right? Copilot will do that heavy real life provided guided remediation and best practices in natural language for intuitive next steps. So now that we've talked about how Security Copilot works, let's get a real look at it in action. I want to pass it over now to my colleague Eric, who's going to walk us through some real life demos of Security Copilot, how it can be used in your organization, and tips for getting the most out of the tool. Eric, take it away.
Hey guys, my name is Eric Nepo. 1 second, let me just share my screen. Yeah, so in this section, I'm just gonna walk you through actual practical steps, how we can use Copilot for security. So we built the lab and tested many different scenarios so we can help our customers get started with the Copilot the right way. Here's a high-level overview of our demo/lab environment. The key challenge with testing Copilot is the fact that you need to have actual security-related events, high level, to actually have Copilot do its job. We configured VMs inside the Azure environment and VMs on-prem. We also installed Defender for the cloud agents on all attack targets. We added the web application firewall to the environment and configured the web server that we can target for some of our attacks. We then launched our attacks against the VMs and the WAF from on-premise Kali Linux host, as well as breach and attack simulation solution. But just configuring the VMs and attacking them is not enough for Copilot to be useful. We need to have systems in place that detect the attacks and facilitate facilities for logging the events. On the right side of the slide are the Azure systems that enable incidents detection and logging. So we're using Defender XDR, Sentinel, and Defender for the cloud are configured in our lab for this particular purpose. So enough of the theory. So now let's take a look at how the Copilot for security is enabled inside Azure Tenant. So let me just start the video here because we already have it enabled. So the only way for me to show how to enable it is to run the video. So you start the process by searching for Copilot for security compute capacities inside the portal. Then you click create. And then you see our usual suspects: subscription, resource group. Then you can enter a name for capacity, which is arbitrary. Now, this option allows you to enable Copilot compute capacities to actually run outside of the geography where you're located, in case a particular geography where you are is running out of compute. So we'll enable it here. So the next choice that we have is how many secure compute units we would like to enable. So minimum is 1. So it's charged $4 per unit per hour. So if you extrapolate this number over 30 days, the total for one compute capacity ends up being $2,880. Now, Microsoft recommends starting with 2 compute capacities, but it can be increased or decreased as needed, based on your usage, and I'll show you how to monitor the usage. As you increase compute capacities, the price is increased linearly. So if it's 2, then it's doubled, 3 is tripled, and so forth. So you get the idea. We're going to click acknowledge and then create. It literally takes less than a minute to spin up capacity, so we can start actually using it. Okay, so now that it's created, let's dive into the standalone experience of user interface. I'll also show you the integrated experience after we explore the standalone interface. We navigate to it again by typing Security Copilot at Microsoft.com. Okay, so once we configure it and enable, this is what we're going to be presented with. Let me just go through various sections. So the first thing, and arguably the most important thing to configure, is your plugins, or they're also called sources, by clicking this button right here. So here we're presented with essentially, I would say, 4 groups of sources. The first, arguably the most important one, is the one provided by Microsoft. You can kind of think of the sources as components or data sources that you allow Copilot to interact with. So if you only want Copilot to work with the firewall and Entra, you would disable them all and just select components that you need specifically. So for this demo, I'm going to have all of them enabled. Most of them don't have any kind of configuration, with some exceptions. So let me just stop at one of them. So if we click on this little cog gear, we'll see that there are a few things that we can configure for the web application firewall. So we need to configure log analytics workspace, actual name where a WAF is sending its data to. Need to configure the workspace subscription ID and workspace name. It's there because as you're configuring web application firewall, you can send it to many different log spaces, and you can have more than one. So this enables Copilot to know where to look for once you're asking questions specific to web application firewall. Okay, so next section is non-Microsoft plugins. Some of them are free, such as hash lookup, where we can look up more information about files using their hash. Also, another free one and very useful one is IP address database, which can give us reputation of various IP addresses that are being spotted through attack or whatever other source. And then the rest of the plugins, they require a subscription with external service. For example, Copilot for Security plugin for Splunk, it will require you to have a subscription, so you will configure a connection from Microsoft Security Copilot into your Splunk instance, so you can use data from Splunk to make to help aid Copilot with its recommendations. The next section is pretty simple. It's basically public web, whether you want Copilot to be able to navigate to web to gather information. And last but not least is a custom plugin. Would have any available right here, but essentially you can add plugins that are custom to your or specific to your organization. If in case you have some repository of data that may be homegrown and you would like to inform Copilot with data or enrich Copilot with data from this repository, you can create those plugins and enrich Copilot's decisions with this data. Okay, so that concludes our sources. So next, I would like to cover the prompts. So those are, like as you start, as you instantiate Copilot, you will see a lot of different prompts that Microsoft created for us. This is fairly new. It wasn't here even a couple of months ago, but Microsoft is striving to help us understand how to work with it more effectively. So it creates some ideas that we can utilize for different purposes to get us sort of going with the solution. So essentially, each prompt is a single statement. Like, for example, list best practices for implementing zero trust architecture in the cloud. And then what's also important to understand, and you will see the importance of it later in the demo, is the source of information. And in this particular source of information that Copilot will target to answer your question is Microsoft documentation. But there are others, such as Intune, Defender XDR, Sentinel, and a bunch of others. You can filter them depending on your role or also depending on the source of data. So, like I said, those are just examples that Microsoft came up with to make it, to make it easier for us to start with Copilot for security. Okay, so next is a prompt book. The prompt book is kind of like a collection of prompts that are interrelated. So, if you ever use, ChatGPT, for example, you will start with a question such as like, I don't know, give me ideas for a recipe, right? And then the next question will be, okay, so now give me more details, and and you're kind of drilling down into some sort of flow. So Microsoft kind of created similar approach, but it's already pre-canned for you. So let's click on one. Let's take a look at Microsoft 365 Defender Incident Investigation. So here, there is only one variable, which is Defender Incident ID. And then the rest are the questions that are fed by this variable. And then it's, Copilot is going through all of those questions in sequence and enriching each answer with the previously discovered information. And then finally, it creates an executive summary. So if we click this Start New Session, as I mentioned, it only requires incident ID. So if we type incident ID 143, it will go through this incident and basically provide the response. I'll show you how this works in a recorded session, because it will actually take a few minutes to complete in a real environment. Okay. Next one is next component of the user interface is capabilities. It's actually called prompts, but it's also called capabilities. So if you see here, we have prompt books and we see system capabilities. They're essentially prompts that have some more generic ability as opposed to querying XDR or entrance or so forth. And the one I would like to show you later in a demo is script analysis. But I just wanted to generally show you different areas that are available, or different facilities that Microsoft made available for us. So prompts, prompt books, system capabilities. Now let's take a look at usage monitoring. This is also a fairly new feature. It wasn't around before a couple months ago, but it's a great enhancement to this tool. So take a look at usage monitoring. Yeah, we will see how many units we have enabled. We can also change them right here. We can increase or decrease. And we can also see each session and how many compute units each session use. So you can kind of see the heavier users, less heavy users, and what they've done. Like did they use Security Copilot portal, or did they use Copilot inside Defender, which is integrated experience? And you can also see here that although we have 2 units assigned at some point earlier today when I was pre-populating it for the demo, I actually spiked it to 9 compute units. So Microsoft is kind of generous in letting you spike as long as you don't sort of run at 9 units all the time. So once you run over your compute units, it will basically tell you in the user interface that you run out of compute units and ask you either to wait until it frees up, or will ask you to increase the number of units. Okay, so now I'm going to show you an example of a pre-recorded prompt book in order to save time, as I mentioned earlier. Okay. So navigating to prompt books. And select one of interest. And I'm going to briefly pause here. So this is a prompt book that's abbreviated. I basically removed some of the questions to make it kind of quicker for the demo purposes. And it also highlights the point that you can modify those and you can create your own as you wish. They will be stored in your account. They're not shared. They're just for you. So it's customizable. But Microsoft does provide you with a sort of a blueprint to start with. So I'm going to enter incident number 143, and we'll kind of work with this incident through this demo from different angles. So initially, it gives you the answer to the first question. At least severity, IP addresses involved. The next question is tell me about entities associated. So it talks about servers, processes, files that were related. And finally, in this abbreviated version, we're asking it to write an executive report summary for this investigation, which you can share with the management, and which will save you a lot of time. So this is an example of how Copilot can perform a task that used to take hours, essentially in a few minutes. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to review the same incident number 143 using the integrated experience within Defender XDR. As mentioned earlier, you have this integrated experience in many different tools, such as Intune, Entra, Defender, and a bunch of other, Sentinel. But I'm going to just demo the same incident within Defender XDR using integrated experience and highlight major differences between using integrated versus standalone. Okay, so how do we navigate to this incident to get all the intelligence? So we basically expand our incidents, navigate to to event of interest, and I'm gonna just click on something that's more, I guess, benign. And as we click on that instance, Copilot starts populating information for us on the right side. So there are sort of two aspects to it. There is a general information about an incident, and then there is a guided response. So while it's generating, it's going to take some time. I'm going to just jump into another window here where I already pre-populated it, so I wouldn't have to wait for everything to generate. So this is a more involved incident. You see this is actually a multi-stage incident, which bunch of different actions or alerts that were flagged. You see a bunch of files, servers, and so forth. So each one represents something related to this incident. So like I said, it takes a couple of minutes, but I already let this pre-populate. So if we expand, we'll see something similar that we saw inside standalone experience. It gives us incident summary, lateral movement, credentials access, and persistence and so forth. And next, it gives us guided response, which is extremely useful because it actually tells us, especially useful for junior engineers. It actually tells us how to triage it. So it tells us what to do specifically in order to contain this incident, which I find extremely useful. So that's a benefit. We don't need to do anything. It just gives us information. The downside of using integrated experience is that you cannot dive deeper. You cannot follow up the prompt with the next question, which is possible inside of the guided experience. But there is a sort of a shortcut. So if you wanted to take this incident inside the standalone experience, you could just take it and open inside Security Copilot and then pick it up from there, and you can continue doing sort of free queries, ask whatever question you want and expand further. So that's the main difference. Integrated experience is streamlined, but it doesn't have the flexibility to do more, and we can take it to from one interface into another. So next, I would like to show you an example of a systems capability. Okay, so this is an example, one second, of a system capability. And as I mentioned earlier, I would be using script analysis. So if you take a look at the script, it's not terribly complex, but me not being necessarily a developer or very efficient in scripting, it doesn't exactly jump at me, what the script does. So let's see how Copilot can help us decipher what the script does. Again, this is a recording. Let's see what happens. Basically, gonna navigate to this analyzing script capability. And we will basically just paste that script and hit enter. So Copilot selected sort of a generic capability, didn't select Defender for cloud or anything else, which is why it's a system capability. Took it 22 seconds to process, and then now we see like a human readable language, and it explains step by step exactly what this script does. And what's important at the end, it will give us sort of a verdict, whether the script is malicious or not. So sure enough, the script is designed to replace an existing process with potentially malicious one downloaded from a remote server. It's crucial to understand the implications of running such script, as it could potentially compromise the security of a system. So I find it extremely useful, especially for people that are not savvy with scripting. Okay, so next, I would like to go through examples of prompting, or essentially what's called prompt engineering. So you understand how to engineer prompts correctly to get the result. So let's take a look at this example. So the prompt states, I'm a manager of a security operations center, and I need to understand how well my organization is performing. Can you please look at the last 30 days of Sentinel incidents and let me know what threats we're facing and if we are prepared based upon incidents being closed or resolved? So there are 4 essential components or critical components to it. What is the specific security-related information you need? So I need to understand how well my organization is performing. Context, I'm a manager of a security operations center. So I just would like to stop on this one briefly, because you're stating that you're manager of security operations center, Copilot knows how much detail you actually want to see. If you stated you're senior security engineer, it will give you a different level of detail. So expectations, let me know what threats we're facing and if we are prepared based upon incidents being closed or resolved. And then the source. If there is a plugin known info or data source Copilot for security should use. And we do say here, look at the last 30 days of Sentinel incidents. Now, let's take a look at what happens once we enter this prompt. I'm just going to paste the prompt here and click enter. It's checking plugins that we're using. We need to know where to source our data. Now it's getting, and if you can see, it changed to choose Microsoft Sentinel. So it found out which source of data to use. Then it's getting list of incidents, and then it's preparing our response. So let's take a look at what we get. So it gives us a great 30-day summary. It shows us which tickets are closed, which are open, which are deleted. And it also gives us at the end sort of analysis of how well our organization is performing. So from this data, it's clear the organization has been proactive in addressing threats. For incidents, 4 incidents have been closed, and so forth. So this is a great summary for management. Just gives us an idea how well our organization is performing, which I think is very useful and saves us a lot of time. Now let's take a look at another example of the prompt. And I'm going to sort of give it away in saying that this is an example of a bad prompt. The only difference between a good and a bad prompt is the fact that I removed word Sentinel from this sentence. So let's see what happens now. Checking for plugins, it chose Microsoft Defender because we didn't specify it, and it couldn't retrieve data. So this is important concept to understand, and I'm going to quickly jump back into our user interface. And if you remember, I pointed out that each query or each prompt works better if you specify where the data is sourced from. It's not a requirement. Sometimes it does a good job guessing what you're looking for, but if it doesn't, this is the way to fix it. Basically specify what data it needs to query. Okay, so let me show you another example of the prompt. Now here's an example of good prompt that's targeting web application firewall. So show top 3 security threats detected by WAF in last 15 days. So let's see what we get from here. So I'm going to pause it for a second, and I would like to point out one thing here. So show 3 top security threats detected by WAF in 15 days. I did not say look inside Sentinel. I did say web application firewall. But that's enough information because we did, if you recall, configure where our WAF events are. So it does know where to look and which repository inside Sentinel to look for. So now this is our response. It's showing the rules. It's showing exactly which pattern was matched, what kind of attack. It was a SQL injection attack. So we have our information, but let's take a look at another interesting feature. This is actual query that Copilot for Security constructed and ran against our Sentinel database. So let's take a closer look at that. So here's the query. I basically took this query from Copilot for Security interface and pasted it inside inside Sentinel search, and it produced the same results. But take a look at the complexity. I mean, if you're talking about working, with a junior engineer or junior SOC operator, it'll probably take them a while to come up with this answer. So even though our Copilot query, takes a couple of minutes, it definitely is a huge time saver. Now that pretty much concludes our live demo. And next, I would like to point out how Reply can help you, or ways we can help your organization, with the security. So first of all, we can help you build training and testing environments, sort of like what we have right now. We can incorporate different attack methods so that your security team can train and then see how ready they are and how ready your systems, such as antiviruses and so forth, how well they're actually detecting threats. Now, next is a critical piece, because as I mentioned in the very beginning, that Copilot for Security is only as good as your data or as your events that you detect. So in order to detect those events, you need to have security principles configured and properly tuned. So then Copilot for Security can work with them, and that's something that Reply can help you with as well. Now, you'll appreciate the complexity of different connectors and ways that data is stored and exchanged between various systems here. This is basically a diagram that outlines different ways that data is stored and ways we can optimize connectors and ways that data is stored. I'm sorry, I'm overusing the word ways here. Sorry about that. And now the third aspect is building Copilot for Security plugins. Not only do you have a bunch of plugins that are already created by different vendors, we can help you build internal plugins that are working with your data specifically, if that's something that you're looking to take advantage of. And the last, we can help you define roles within the organization and help understand benefits for each role, because as I'm sure you understand, SOC operator will have one set of needs, while CISO will have different sets of needs. So we can help define them and help tailor the ways that they can leverage Copilot for Security. So that concludes my presentation. Thank you very much. And I'll hand it off to our team.
All right. So thank you very much, Eric. I'm going to talk about a couple of success stories here with a couple of our customers. So our first one here is Eastman. This is a specialty materials manufacturer. They develop some innovative products that you're probably using yourself. Textiles, adhesives, coatings, etc. And as a result here, they have lots of IP, like formula and processes, and they partner with a global network of suppliers. And this results in a pretty significant attack surface that they need to defend. So one challenge they've been experiencing is difficulty in finding skilled cybersecurity professionals. So they chose Defender XDR to protect their workloads and detect signals across all their productivity apps, across a global footprint, multi-cloud environment. And then adding Security Copilot, they were able to upskill junior security talent and reduce their time to detection and response for the security issues and enhance their overall security posture. Additional outcomes, they realized that we're giving some senior security staff time to refocus on proactively defending against critical threats, plus enhanced collaboration across teams thanks to Copilot. On the right side here, you can see some quotes. Their SOC lead highlighted Copilot as a learning tool for their junior analysts, and also noted that it saves their senior analysts' effort as well. Eastman's global IT security architect manager here highlighted significant acceleration in investigations and noted that the incident summary capability delivered time savings and also more in-depth script analysis, just like Eric demoed in the previous section here. And then finally, Eastman's CISO noted that Copilot can help them scale by pulling threat information across a large global footprint, which is a huge advantage. The next one here is Pacifico Seguros. This is one of Peru's leading insurance companies. They were one of our earliest adopters in Latin America. They've also been challenged with recruiting, skilled cybersecurity professionals, and noted, increased operational complexity here. They again chose Defender XDR mainly for the zero trust approach, and Defender also helps them to comply with the FFIEC. So Enter ID was selected to achieve a new standard for access to apps and services with a risk-based approach and MFA. They're also using Defender XDR with Purview, so the behavioral analytics capabilities that help them to protect sensitive data in the environment. And then finally, they chose Security Copilot for the efficiency gains, right? Being able to neutralize threats more efficiently and faster. Some of the outcomes that Pacific Scuros shared included that their switch to Defender XDR significantly reduced their OpEx, as they previously had to expend significant resources on maintenance, which they no longer need to do with Defender XDR, and experienced some increased visibility and significantly reduced their time spent on triaging and responding to alerts. And their goal with Copilot is to meet the 1-10-60 golden rule in cybersecurity, reducing the time to detect, investigate, and remediate threats. And their IT security manager noted that they were impressed by the architectures published by Microsoft that helped them be successful on that journey, and that this journey itself doesn't have an end in sight, but rather it's a radical mindset change. Also, I just want to quickly point out Willis Towers Watson, U.S.-based leader, some professional services, including risk, HR, and benefits. And again, they were seeking that same unified end-to-end security, zero trust. Led them to select Defender and Sentinel for their SOC. They're saying Sentinel saved them over $5 million a year in their telemetry. And in addition to Defender, they are also using Enter ID and Purview for DLP for governance, Intune for device management, and finally Security Copilot for more advanced and accelerated threat hunting, strengthening that team expertise and improving their overall posture. And then finally, I just kind of want to hit on Dow. Dow is a U.S.-based material science company. They deliver technology, innovation, globally, packaging, customer solutions, industrial. Dow's CISO, Mario Fergat, joined us for a fireside chat at our Microsoft Secure event last March and discussed their experience with Security Copilot during the early adopters program, and some specific pieces of value that he mentioned, included natural language to Cousteau query language translation, enabling their analysts to easily put in what they wanted and have Security Copilot provide back to them the actual KQL syntax needed to get that particular query done much faster. More speed gains from Copilot in terms of pivoting from manual responses back to automated. He said it was a huge game changer here, and finally he highlighted the value in Copilot script analysis capability. That helps him quickly understand the simple plain language what exactly is going on, just like Eric showed earlier. That's kind of a common theme. Probably the three biggest advantages are the executive summary capabilities, script analysis, and guided response. So these are just a few of the growing number of customers who are seeing real business impact and security growth with the use of Security Copilot. So we're excited to see this amazing tool and continue to evolve and grow as a leader in AI solutions for security teams. And with that, I'll pass it back to the Valorem Reply team, who will kick off the Q&A.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for all that great information. Appreciate you sharing a little time and expertise with us. Thank you, everyone who joined us. We're going to jump into Q&A now, so feel free to post any comments, questions you have in the Q&A or chat box for experts today. While you're thinking of those questions, just want to call out a quick offering to have a free consult with one of our security experts that we're offering today's attendees, where you can kind of kickstart your Security Copilot journey, get it started, learn about integration and challenges you're expecting, change management, can cover the gamut of where you are in your Copilot journey. So I'll give you guys a few minutes, see if anybody wants to ask any questions of our experts here. All right, then I think we'll call it a little early. Before you go, we'd love to have some feedback, some quick feedback from you on how we did today. So we're going to launch one more poll. I appreciate you sharing your feedback so we can continue to improve our events. And we hope to see you at future Valorem Reply events. Thank you for everyone for your time. Have a great day.